Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to Team Forbidden's YouTube page again. It is Andrew the Collector here, and welcome back to part 2 of our series where we talk about the top 5 decks of the current format. This video we are going to be talking about the top 5 rogue decks of the current format, post Infinite Forbidden. So without further ado, let's just hop right into it. So at number 5, I'm going to be putting the new Exodic or / Millennium deck right here. I'm putting it at number 5 because it's not necessarily a budget deck because there are a few expensive cards in the deck, but I'm also not putting it any higher in Rogue because there's only been one top cut deck that has been top cut player that has been successful with this deck. It could change in the future, but it probably won't. But we'll just have to see. But I feel fine putting it at number 5. But just keep an eye out for it because if you don't understand how this deck works, you will lose to it. But yeah, just do your research and you should be fine. And at number 4, we have a archetype that kind of came out of nowhere, and that's Mementos. I like the idea of Mementos, and I like how it's a deck that is more focused on getting its big 5k monster out and then just hitting your opponent really hard with it. Yeah, I actually really do enjoy this deck. It's kind of a mixture of control and aggro. It's kind of a mid-range deck, but yeah, I highly recommend picking up the deck and learning how it plays because it is a lot of fun. It's not in budget in my budget list because a few of the cards are kind of expensive, but a good amount of their cards that are in the new Infinite Forbidden set are relatively cheap. It's more the older stuff that are the expensive stuff. Like their main starter spell, I think, is like at least if I can remember, is like $30 each, $20 at minimum, and you need 3 copies of it. But other than that, the deck can be relatively easy to obtain. But yeah, Mementos, I feel comfortable putting at number 4. And we'll go ahead and go with number 3, which I am confident putting with Branded. This deck hasn't really changed all that much since my previous list, because I believe I put it at number 3 in the Rogue list as well, but correct me if I'm wrong. But nothing really has changed with it. It's not gotten worse, but it's also not gotten better. It's kind of stayed the same, which is okay. The deck still has enough representation to keep it in the pool, and I think it's still a deck that is for that people need to be wary of, because a lot of their plays, especially probably with the new stuff coming out that has fusion support in it, you definitely need to look out for this one. It very well could jump up into the top brackets. But just be wary of it that Branded has not gone anywhere yet. Now number 2, this one was kind of a stretch. I'm putting Labyrinth here because the representation for Labyrinth is growing. Their gimmicks in terms of trap cards and being able to pop stuff on their first turn is still absolutely crazy and still something that you need to be looking out for. So definitely be on the lookout for Branded. I really wish that Red Reboot was still around, but beggars can't be choosers. But until that happens, we're still going to be seeing Labyrinth all over the place. And number 1, this is a warning to everyone who is not aware of this, because I've only known about this deck for maybe a day before sitting down here and talking about it, but you need to look out for Mimigools. It's a new TCG exclusive archetype from Infinite Forbidden, and it's solely focused around flip effect monsters. Giving them to your opponent, they get flipped up, and then it forces your opponent to do stuff that adds to your benefit. You need to watch out for this deck because people are starting to get a grasp on how the deck works and they're able to utilize it, and I can easily see this go up into the top meta decks if people aren't careful with it, because the deck is very control-y and it is very nasty when it gets going. But if you know how to counter it properly, you can beat it easily. You just got to understand how the deck works, what the cards do, and you should be fine. But for those who are thinking of picking up the deck, pick it up as soon as possible. Even at pre-sale, the deck is still relatively cheap, with the exception of maybe 2 cards, which are like $15 each. So you could easily make this deck under $100 if you make the right build with it. So just as a warning, just keep a lookout for this deck, and understand that if you come up against it, you need to know how it works in order to beat it. But anyway, that is it for the top 5 rogue decks of Post Infinite Forbidden. If you guys like this, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell down below for notifications, and look forward to our next video of the top 5 budget decks, which is my personal favorite. And until then, we'll catch you guys in the next one.